Hey my pretties, it's Twisted Tiff, back at it again. I'm getting the hang of this whole talking to myself thing. I press myself every day. Anyway, I am back at it again to give you my top ranking horror movies of all time within the last 3 years that I would highly recommend watching. Let's get it! We're gonna start off with the movie Spiral. The reason why I start off with this one is because it's not my top favorite to watch. Like I said, I have my reasons. Maybe later on down the road I will discuss about why, mainly. Like I said, I understand where they were coming from 100%. Of the whole thing. I was just kind of disappointed because, like I said, when you watch the Saw trilogies, regardless of the books and everything, you kind of expect some things to be in this one. But hey, what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do? You can't do much about it. But anyway, Spiral, for those who have not really watched it, you know, it is a extension of the Saw books, not the Saw movies. So to be honest, you don't really ever have to watch the Saw movies to really understand what's going on in Spiral, if you catch what I'm saying. Just throwing it out there. But go watch my YouTube video on Saw anyway, cause yeah. Mwah! Would love, much appreciated, just saying. Just throwing it out there, wink wink. Like I said, I do understand the whole concept of it. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, so I still highly recommend that you go watch it. The next movie I really recommend is The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. I watched it and it was freaking fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It most definitely blew the second one out of the water. Not saying the second one is a bad movie. I'm just saying I couldn't really dig the whole crooked man situation in there. I don't know what it was about it. I just I just couldn't I just thought it was too cartoonish. Now, granted, in real life, if that sucker was chasing after me, that would have been a whole freaking different story. But I'll give you a little gist of The Conjuring 3. Basically, this guy gets arrested for a murder. Well, he doesn't really remember murdering this person. Ed and Lorraine Warren come in to help him out, and they have to prove that he was actually under possession in order for him not to get the death penalty. That is the quickest sum up without giving any of the good juicy details away for you. So, and I think that's actually a pretty dang good detail on it. When you watch it, you'll be like, she knew what she talking about. I do to a point. Don't always believe 100% everything that I say. People do screw up sometimes. Just saying. Nobody is a natural in the whole situation. Okay? Just throwing that out there, Another movie I highly recommend, and I wouldn't really say this is in anywhere of the ballpark between with Spiral and The Conjuring, but I did love it, and the reason why I loved it is because I do love Five Nights at Freddy's, so it kind of, my bad, I kind of kicked my table, so everything kind of went hibbity-bibbity for a minute there. But, back to what I was saying. Is Willys Wonderland. So it has Nicolas Cage in there, which is freaking funny. That guy is hilarious. The fact that he did so good in that movie and didn't have pretty much Like, he was the whole thing about it. It's really hard to explain without kind of like giving it away. But Willys Wonderland is a concept of kind of like Five Nights at Freddy's. For people who don't really know, before Five Nights at Freddy's was Five Nights at Freddy's, it was actually going to be Willys Wonderland. Willys Wonderland is still the same concept of Five Nights at Freddy's. It just has a little bit of different characters to them. I can't remember them off the top of my head. I do know that one is, I think, Willie Otterson. He's an otter. He's kind of the head honcho of the bunch. But anyway, Nicolas Cage is hired to basically clean this place up, and he goes ape shit on these people. Well, I can't really call them people. Mechanical devices / whatever you want to call. Okay, they're animatronics, but like, yeah. But I do highly recommend it. It is hilarious, but it does also give you that creepy vibe to it, especially if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's person, like, you know, go-to person with that situation and love that stuff. I believe that they're going to be making a second one, which I don't know how you would, unless if there's multiple Willys Wonderlands that are going to be throughout the United States that they're just going to go kick some ass in, but you never know. I guess that'll be the concept of that. Another movie I highly recommend that I did watch this upcoming year was Wrong Turn. Now, when you do watch it, I do want to say one thing. Do not go into watching this Wrong Turn thinking that it's going to be a lot of inbred hillbilly type people, because that is not the case on this one. I would probably say that the best way to explain this movie is it's kind of more a upgraded movie in a way. So it doesn't have a whole bunch of like, it's a more sophisticated type movie for sure. It doesn't have the whole like death scene after death scene after death scene of these freaking weirdos running through the woods. It's a lot more detailed than that. Wrong Turn, to kind of give the gist of it, these college students are on spring break or something like that, or on summer vacation. I'm pretty sure it was spring break, and they end up in this little town, and they go trailing in the woods, and they tell them not to go off the beaten path, and what do these freaking people do? They go off the beaten path, and crap happens. So that's the best way to explain that without giving the whole detail of that movie. But it's still most definitely one to watch, that's for sure, because it gives you a whole different thought process that people like this could exist. They probably do exist, to be honest, on the whole situation and stuff like that. We don't freaking know, unless if you are on a daily basis going in the woods and being like, nah, I've trailed every single wood in this, you know, kingdom come, and people like that don't exist. I don't believe you. If there ain't a picture, it don't exist. At least that's what they always try to tell me, but whatever. My next movie I would highly recommend on this situation is Hereditary. The reason I say Hereditary is because if there has been any movie lately in the last couple to few years that has scared the ever-living daylights out of me, is probably Hereditary. And I think the reason being is because of the fact that it starts off so slow and then it just goes freaking crazy so quickly. And it's super creepy also on top of that. Plus, I am a huge thing with like cults. Don't like them, but watch them. But don't like them. In a sense, any way, shape, or form. No. Nah, son. But the concept of this movie is a grandmother dies, and it turns out she's a part of this, you know, whole cult thing. Shit goes down in this family, and it goes down hard and fast. But I can't with myself sometimes, I swear. Anyway, it takes a turn really quickly. I highly recommend it because this movie, when I first watched it, I literally had nightmares for like 2 or 3 days. That's how creeped out I was with it. Did it stop me watching it 2 or 3 more times after that? No. Like any other movie? No. But hey, what can I say? I do love me a good scare. My next one I would highly recommend would probably be Invisible Man. If you guys have not watched it, it is it's way more of a thriller than it would be a horror movie. But it has moments where you're like, hell no, and then you want to just jump out of your chair. So it's still kind of like on that border of thriller but horror. The concept is this lady is in an abusive relationship. She ends up escaping him. He ends up killing himself, and in the process, he leaves all of his money to her as long as she doesn't go crazy. And that's pretty much exactly what ends up happening. She goes freaking berserk and nuts because she thinks that this guy turned himself invisible to get back at her to make her go crazy. That's pretty much the gist of how I can explain this movie without kind of giving away the whole movie, because there's so many twists in it and there's so many jumps in it, and it's just such a good storyline. It's not even funny. I was super impressed by it. I absolutely loved it, that's for sure. This next movie, I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce it, so give me a minute. Antebellum. If I mispronounced that wrong, I am so sorry. I didn't. I'm sorry, because, you know, I just not good with the whole reading and the speaky thingy sometimes, but I think it's Antebellum. It is from the director who made Get Out and Us, so going into it, I knew for a fact that this movie was gonna be awesome. I will say the end kind of leaves you a little confused. You do have to watch it a second time to kind of understand what's going on it, but it leaves you scratching your head, that's for dang sure, because at one point in time I think one thing is happening and then boom, it turns out it was something completely opposite, and I'm sitting there going, what in the hell just happened, and what in the freak am I watching? That's exactly my whole concept of how that thing went, to be honest. But it is most definitely one that I would highly recommend. Also, it is a more darker movie, which of course the director gets very dark with his movies and his storylines, which I absolutely love, because he doesn't have a filter of things. You know, he doesn't care if it offends you or not. He's gonna do it anyway. And to be honest, the stuff that he shows also proves that some of this stuff is also still happening in today's time, unfortunately. Because Antebellum is basically all about slavery, is the whole gist of the movie. Is basically saying the past is never in the past. It never stays there, it's always there. Is pretty much the gist of it. But finally, the last movie I would highly recommend watching out of all the top movies that I would suggest, not saying it's the best movie, I'm just saying it's the final movie. If I would say the best movie out of the group that I would choose would probably be The Devil Made Me Do It and Hereditary. Those two are like the top two that I would highly recommend watching. But the last movie I would most definitely say for you guys to go and watch would be A Quiet Place Part 2. To give a little, feedback on there, for people who don't know, The Quiet Place is a concept of, these alien-like creatures that are very keen to hearing but can't see, come up on this world and basically is just taking everybody out one by one. You make a single noise, you're pretty much dead meat, 100%. That's the whole gist of it. And it's this family with a newborn baby, so it's a mother, a daughter, a son, and a newborn baby who are running for their lives, basically just trying to survive. This is the best way to possible to explain it, without giving, you know, the whole detail of the movie away and stuff like that. So I highly recommend watching that as well. But those would be my top movies, most definitely, to check out that have came out within the last few years. If there's any movies that you think should be in this list, write it in the comment below. I would love to hear what you guys think are your best horror movies. I would love to watch horror movies that you think I have never watched. That's very hard, but it is probable. Trust me, it is probable. There's been so many times that I've gone through like Shudder and stuff that like I'm like going through it and I'm like, well, I've never heard about this one before, never heard about this one. I think I have a whole list in my my laptop of movies that I just could not straight up believe that I even have never watched. You know, some of the favorite B-rated movies come out from that kind of situation. So, but until next time, my pretties, I must say adieu.